You're working 50, 60, even 70 hours a week. You're grinding, hitting your targets, and doing everything you're supposed to do. You're loyal, you're productive. But when you look at your bank account at the end of the month, after groceries, gas, and housing, it feels like you're on a treadmill that's getting faster and faster, and you're about to fly off the back. You're not imagining it. In 2026, a lot of us have felt the squeeze of something called salary compression. That's the maddening feeling when the new person they hire to do your job, with way less experience, is making almost as much as you. We were told it was just a temporary market thing, a hangover from the wild days of the Great Resignation. But I'm here to tell you that was just a tremor before the real earthquake. New data and economic forecasts are painting a very clear and very bleak picture for 2027. The old comfortable rules for getting a raise, work hard, stay loyal, wait for your annual review, are officially broken. They're a trap. And if you follow them, your paycheck in 2027 and every year after is going to be worth less and less, leaving you financially vulnerable in a way you never saw coming. In this video, I'm going to break down the harsh reality of what's coming. We'll look at the data that shows why your salary is in more danger than you think. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the new playbook. We're going to walk through 3 specific, unconventional career moves you have to start making right now. These aren't the tired old tips you've heard 100 times. These are the strategic shifts that will let you not just survive the coming salary stagnation, but completely bypass it and build real, lasting financial security. To understand why 2027 is shaping up to be a financial disaster for so many, you have to get that the game has fundamentally changed. The power dynamic between employees and employers has shifted dramatically, and most people haven't caught on yet. Let's start with the most obvious broken rule, the idea that if you want a big raise, you just need to change jobs. This was the gospel during the Great Resignation of 2021 and 2022. People were job hopping and snagging huge pay bumps. At the peak of the frenzy in April 2022, the median pay increase for someone changing jobs was a staggering 16%. It was a seller's market for talent, but that market is gone. We've moved from the Great Resignation into a new, quieter, and much more dangerous era that some are calling the Great Stay. The latest data from early 2026 is brutally clear. According to ADP, which analyzes millions of paychecks every month, annualized pay growth for people who change jobs has slowed to just 6.4% as of January. Now, 6.4% might still sound okay, until you compare it to what people who stayed in their jobs got, 4.5%. That gap, that switcher's premium, has shrunk to its lowest level in years. The huge reward for taking the risk of jumping to a new company has all but vanished. Employers just don't have to dangle massive salaries anymore because the flood of open positions has slowed to a trickle and quit rates have plummeted. The balance of power has swung firmly back to the employer. For most people, the first escape hatch, job hopping, has been nailed shut. So if you can't leave for more money, what about getting a raise where you are? This is where the second, more insidious part of the trap appears. This is the part that will make your 2027 paycheck feel even worse than your one from 2026. Companies are broadcasting their plans for pay raises, and it's not good news. Major surveys from firms like Mercer, who poll thousands of companies, are all converging around the same number. For 2026, companies are planning to increase their salary budgets by a national average of just 3.5%. That number, 3.5%, is their total increase budget, which includes merit raises, promotions, and other adjustments. The average merit increase, the little bump you get for just doing a good job, is projected to be even lower, around 3.1 to 3.2%. Now let's put that 3.5% raise into real-world context. According to the latest projections from the Congressional Budget Office, inflation is expected to be around 2.7% in 2026. So, on paper, your 3.5% raise looks like you're coming out slightly ahead, a 0.8% real wage growth. This is the number economists will point to and say, see, things are getting better. But you and I both know that it doesn't feel better. And there's a good reason why. This tiny sliver of real wage growth is coming after years of high inflation that completely outstripped our wages. Your purchasing power took a massive hit, and a 0.8% gain doesn't even begin to fill that hole. It's like being in a 30-foot hole and someone hands you a 1-foot ladder and tells you you're making progress. Plus, that headline inflation number doesn't capture the soaring costs of the things that eat up our budgets: housing, healthcare, and education. So even when the government says inflation is 2.7%, your personal inflation rate might feel more like 5, 6, or even 7%. This is why a six-figure salary, which used to be a hallmark of success, now feels distressingly average. Your small raise is getting eaten alive before it even hits your bank account. This leads us to the ugliest part of the problem, the one that punishes loyalty and experience the most: salary compression. This is the core of the Great Salary Reset. Compression happens when the market rate for new hires rises faster than a company is willing or able to adjust the salaries of its existing employees. Imagine you've been at your company for 5 years. You're a top performer. You know the systems, you know the clients, you solve problems no one else can. You started at $70,000, and through a series of 3% annual raises, you now make about $81,000. Now, your company needs to hire another person for your team, but because the market has moved, they find they can't attract anyone decent for less than $78,000. So they hire a new grad, someone you will have to train, who will be less productive than you for at least a year. And that person is making just $3,000 less than you. What does that do to your motivation, to your sense of fairness? It's devastating. And it's not some isolated incident, it's a systemic problem. The bidding wars of the Great Resignation created huge imbalances in pay. Now, as companies tighten their belts, they face a choice. Use their tiny 3.5% budget to give everyone a minuscule cost of living adjustment, or try to fix the worst compression issues, which means giving bigger raises to some and even less to everyone else. The result is that your loyalty and steady performance are being systematically devalued. The old deal, that your value increases with your tenure, has been shredded. So let's sum up this bleak reality. You can't job hop for a big raise anymore. The annual raise you're offered is basically a pay cut in real terms, or a rounding error at best. And your loyalty is being rewarded with salary compression that puts you on nearly the same financial footing as someone who just walked in the door. It feels like you're trapped. Following the old rules is a guaranteed path to watching your financial well-being slowly erode year after year. So if working harder doesn't work, and job hopping doesn't work, what's left? The old playbook is broken, it's time for a new one. This isn't about just asking for a raise anymore, it's about fundamentally changing how your value is seen and paid for. The moves we're about to discuss are not simple tips, they are strategic shifts in how you operate as a professional. Alright, let's get into it. Point number 1 is where you take back control. The first unconventional move is to completely reframe your role. The old model was a career ladder. You started on one rung and focused only on climbing to the next. The new model is to think of yourself as a portfolio professional. This means you stop thinking about your job description and start building a portfolio of high-impact skills, projects, and results, all from within your current company. It's about making yourself so undeniably valuable that the standard 3.5% raise becomes a joke. This has 3 steps. The first is the most critical. You must audit your value, not your tasks. Most of us think about our jobs as a to-do list. I answer emails, I write reports, I go to meetings. This is the language of a cog in a machine, and cogs are easily replaced and cheaply maintained. To break out, you have to start speaking the language of the business, which is the language of results and money. I want you to ask yourself a question and be brutally honest. If your salary feels stuck, ask this. Can you draw a straight line from your daily work to a dollar amount on the company's bottom line? Can you quantify your contribution in revenue generated, cost saved, or time reduced? If the answer is no, or it's complicated, that's your number 1 problem. You are invisible from a business impact perspective. Your hard work is just a blur of activity, not a series of clear wins. To fix this, create what I call a personal value proposition deck. This is a simple, private, 3 to 5 slide presentation you make for yourself. It's your internal business case. Slide 1 is your mission statement, not your job title, but the core problem you solve. A project manager's mission isn't to manage projects. It's to ensure our most critical initiatives are delivered on time and on budget, protecting company revenue and reputation. A customer service rep's mission isn't to answer calls. It's to retain customers and turn them into brand advocates, reducing churn and increasing lifetime value. See the difference? One is a task, the other is an impact.
Slide 2 is your quantified accomplishments.
Go back over the last 12 to 18 months and translate your activities into results. Don't say, manage the new website launch. Say, led the cross-functional team that launched the new company website, resulting in a 15% increase in user engagement and a 5% uplift in online sales in Q1, generating an estimated $250,000 in new revenue. Don't say handled customer complaints. Say implemented a new follow-up protocol that reduced customer churn by 3% among top-tier clients, saving an estimated $400,000 in annual recurring revenue.
You have to find the numbers, talk to people in finance or sales, make educated estimates, but you must attach a number to your work.
This is the single most powerful thing you can do for your career. Slide 3 is your identified opportunities. Here you shift from documenting past value to proposing future value. Based on your unique spot in the company, what problems do you see that no one else is solving? What inefficiencies exist? What opportunities are being missed? List 2 or 3. This value proposition deck is now your personal North Star.
The second step to becoming a portfolio professional is to hunt for cross-functional gaps.
Most companies are surprisingly inefficient. Value doesn't just get lost. It falls into the cracks between departments. The gap between what marketing promises and what sales can deliver. The gap between what product builds and what customer support has to deal with. These gaps are gold mines for visible, high-impact work. Your goal is to find a project or a skill that bridges one of these gaps. This isn't about taking on more work. It's about taking on different work. It's about strategically reallocating some effort from low visibility tasks to high impact projects. For example, if you're in marketing, instead of just running another ad campaign, maybe you spend 10% of your time learning basic data analysis to create a dashboard that directly links campaign spending to customer lifetime value. Suddenly, you're not just the marketing person. You're the strategist who can prove marketing's ROI to the CFO.
If you're in HR feeling the pain of salary compression,
Instead of just processing payroll, you could build a model that identifies employees at high risk of leaving. Then you could present a targeted retention plan to leadership. You're no longer an administrator. You're a strategic advisor on human capital risk. By stepping into these gaps, you make yourself visible to leaders across the organization. You're no longer just Sarah from marketing. You're Sarah, the one who built that dashboard everyone is talking about. This cross-functional visibility is a powerful antidote to being overlooked.
this brings us to the third step. You must pilot your promotion.
The old way was to wait for your annual review and ask for a promotion. That's like asking an investor for $1 million with just an idea on a napkin. In a cautious economy, the default answer is no. The portfolio professional takes a different approach. You don't ask. You propose a 90-day pilot project based on an opportunity from your value deck.
You go to your manager and say something like,
I've been analyzing our customer churn data and noticed a pattern. I believe I can design a targeted campaign that could reduce churn in this segment by 10%. I'd like to propose a 90-day pilot where I dedicate 20% of my time to this. We can set a clear success metric, and if it works, we can talk about making this a permanent part of my role. Look at what you just did. You haven't asked for anything. You've offered a solution. You've de-risked the decision for your manager. It's a small, calculated bet for the company. For the next 90 days, you execute flawlessly. You document everything. At the end, you present your results. As you know, we launched the pilot to reduce churn. The goal was a 10% reduction. I'm happy to report we achieved a 12% reduction, which translates to $150,000 in retained annual revenue. Here's the data. Now you have the conversation about compensation, but it's completely different. It's not, I think I deserve a raise. It's, this new capability I've developed and proven has created an additional $150,000 in value. My current role and salary don't reflect this new level of contribution. Let's discuss how we can create a role that incorporates this and adjust my compensation to reflect the value I'm now delivering.
you've piloted your promotion. You've proven your value at the next level before asking to be paid for it.
This move completely sidesteps the salary compression trap. You are no longer being compared to a new hire. You've become a unique, proven asset whose value is in black and white. This is how you break free from the 3.5% budget and start talking about a 15, 20, or even 30% increase, because it's tied to value you've already created. If the first move was about changing your value, this second move is about changing what you negotiate for. The biggest mistake people make in a tight salary market is focusing only on one number, the base salary. With salary budgets locked at a measly 3.5%, fighting for an extra 0.5% is like fighting for breadcrumbs. It's a losing game. The new rule is to master what I call the full stack negotiation. Stop thinking about your salary and start thinking about your total compensation package. The base salary is just one layer of the cake. When companies are scared to increase fixed costs like salaries, they are often much more flexible on variable and non-monetary items. This is where you find the hidden money. This negotiation has 3 layers. The first is how you approach the base salary itself. You have to de-risk the ask for your employer. When you walk in and demand a 10% raise, you're asking them to take a risk. Your job is to make them feel like giving you that money is the safest, most logical decision they could make. How? You anchor your request in undeniable market data. But you go deeper than a simple Glassdoor search. You find data for roles that include your new cross-functional skills. You're not a marketing manager. You're a marketing manager with data analytics skills. And that's a different pay band. More importantly, you offer a performance-based deal. This is a game changer. The script sounds like this. I understand the current budget is tight. I am confident I can deliver specific, quantifiable outcome in the next 6 months. Can we agree in writing to a formal compensation review in 6 months contingent on me hitting that goal? If I hit the target, we agree my base salary will be adjusted to your target number. You've transformed a confrontation into a collaboration. You've said, you don't have to pay me more now. Pay me when I prove I'm worth it. This makes it incredibly difficult for a manager to say no, and can unlock increases far beyond the standard budget. Now for the second layer, where the real creative money is. Negotiating the hidden compensation stack. Once you've set the stage on base salary, you pivot. Since there's a limit on the base salary adjustment we can make today, I'd like to discuss other parts of my total compensation to make sure it reflects the value I bring. Here's your checklist. First, the performance bonus. Don't just accept a vague promise. Propose a specific, tiered structure tied to your performance. For example, if I hit 100% of my target, my bonus is $10,000. If I hit 110%, the bonus accelerates to $15,000. This incentivizes you to overperform and costs the company nothing if you don't. Win-win. Second, equity. This could be stock options, RSUs, or phantom stock. Especially in private or pre-IPO companies, this can be far more valuable than a salary bump long term. If you already have equity, negotiate a refresher grant based on your exceptional performance. Third, the professional development budget. This is one of the most under-negotiated perks. Don't just ask for training, ask for a specific dollar amount for a specific purpose that benefits the company. I've identified a certification that will allow our team to reduce our server costs by 15%. The course costs $5,000. I'd like a dedicated budget to cover this, as it will have a direct ROI for the business. It's not a cost, it's an investment they make through you. Fourth, PTO and flexibility. Never underestimate the value of your time. If the company is truly capped on cash, this is your next lever. If the compensation numbers are firm, would you be open to an additional week of PTO or formalizing my role as permanent hybrid? The value of that extra vacation week, or saving hours of commuting and hundreds in gas money, can be immense. By negotiating across this full stack, base salary, bonus, equity, development, and time, you create multiple paths to a yes. You give your manager options. The goal is to walk away with a total package that's significantly more valuable, even if the base salary only moved a little. The third layer is mastering the counteroffer, specifically knowing when to reject it. You may have used an outside offer to get leverage. What happens when your company calls your bluff and makes a counteroffer to stay? The data here is pretty clear. A huge majority of people who accept a counteroffer end up leaving within a year anyway. Why? Because the money is just a symptom. The underlying reasons you were looking to leave, the salary compression, the lack of appreciation, the bad management, are almost always still there. The company didn't suddenly realize your value, they just realized how annoying it would be to replace you. The trust is broken. Your manager now knows you have one foot out the door, and you'll likely be first on the list for the next round of layoffs. The smart move is to almost always politely decline the counteroffer. It's about securing a better future, not just a better paycheck for the next 6 months.
This third and final move is the most forward-looking. It's about making yourself immune to the salary pressures of 2027 and beyond. It's about building a career moat, an economic barrier that protects your value from competition and even AI. You do this by deliberately crafting a specialist-generalist hybrid identity. For years, we were told to be T-shaped, deep expertise in one area, broad knowledge in others. That's not enough anymore. In a world where AI can replicate specialized knowledge, the most valuable people are what I call pie-shaped or comb-shaped. A pie-shaped professional has deep expertise in two distinct but synergistic fields. A comb-shaped pro has 3 or more. This isn't about being a jack of all trades, it's about being a master of a rare and powerful combination of trades. This combination is your moat. It makes you a category of one, making it incredibly hard for an employer to replace you. The first step is to strategically pick your synergy pair. This isn't about getting another certification in your core field. It's about looking outside your lane to find a complementary skill that creates an exponential jump in your value. Let me give you some examples. An HR professional's standard path is to get deeper into HR. The pie-shaped HR pro, however, gets deep, practical expertise in data analytics. They learn Python and Tableau to build predictive models for employee attrition and analyze the ROI of wellness programs. They're no longer just an HR manager. They're a data-driven human capital strategist. Their value multiplies. A software developer's standard path is to learn another programming language. The pie-shaped developer goes deep on product management. They learn about market research, user personas, and business models. Now they don't just build what they're told. They challenge assumptions and think like a business owner. They bridge the gap between engineering and the business, a gap that costs companies millions. The key is to find the combination that addresses a major pain point in your industry: marketing plus finance, sales plus psychology, healthcare admin plus supply chain logistics. When you're one of the few people standing in two different valuable worlds, your competition shrinks to a handful of people, and your salary potential explodes. Step 2 is making this new hybrid identity visible using the public learning method. It's not enough to quietly take a course. You have to build a public body of work that proves your unique expertise. This is how you build external leverage. This doesn't mean you have to become a YouTuber. It's about professional thought leadership, even on a small scale. Start a simple LinkedIn newsletter or a personal blog. Once a month, write a short article about what you're learning at the intersection of your two fields. The HR pro could write, 3 ways predictive analytics is changing employee retention. The developer could write, why every engineer should spend a day with the sales team. You're documenting your journey and signaling your new expertise to the market. Offer to do a brown bag lunch presentation at your own company. Share what you're learning. Better yet, build something small. Create a tangible asset that shows off your hybrid skills. The marketer learning finance could build a financial model forecasting the ROI of different channel mixes and share it on their blog. This isn't just saying you have the skill, it's proving it. This process creates a powerful feedback loop. It clarifies your thinking and builds your network. Most importantly, it acts as a magnet. Recruiters looking for these rare hybrid skill sets will find you. When your profile is one of the few that contains both data analytics and human resources, you'll get messages for jobs you didn't even know existed. This brings us to the final step, monetizing your career moat. You now have 2 powerful ways to get a massive pay increase, completely bypassing the standard raise cycle. The first is internal. Armed with your new hybrid skills and public proof of expertise, you propose a new, more valuable role for yourself. The script sounds like this. Over the past year, I've developed a deep expertise in new skill, which I believe can solve major company problem. In fact, I've already built this tool or model that shows how we can save an estimated dollar amount. I believe there's an opportunity to create a new role, a data-driven HR strategist that formalizes this. This role would be a category of one, and I'd like to discuss a compensation plan that reflects this unique, high-impact value. You've made it impossible for them to compare you to a standard salary band. You're a unique asset, and you forced them to price you as such. The second avenue is external. Because of your public learning, you're no longer the one hunting for jobs. High-value, unique roles are now hunting for you. This is how you jump from a 5% raise to a 50% or even 100% compensation increase. You're not just getting a new job. You're stepping into an entirely new career category that you designed. This is the ultimate form of career security. This is how you ensure the salary stagnation of 2027 is a problem that other people have, but not you. These 3 moves, becoming a portfolio professional, mastering the full stack negotiation, and building a career moat, are not just suggestions. They are the new survival guide for 2027 and beyond. The world of work has changed for good. The economic headwinds are real, and following the old rules of work hard and wait is a guarantee that you'll get left behind. So, I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest in the comments below. Which of these 3 unconventional moves feels the most urgent or the most challenging for you right now? Is it number 1, auditing your value and piloting your own promotion? Is it number 2, mastering the full stack negotiation beyond just base salary? Or is it number 3, the long-term project of building that pie-shaped hybrid identity? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story and your questions might be the exact thing someone else in this community needs to read to get the courage to take the first step. And if you are serious about taking control of your career and building a paycheck that not only survives but thrives in this new economy, make sure you subscribe. I'm dedicated to breaking down these strategies with even more detailed, actionable advice in the weeks to come. Don't let your career happen to you. It's time to take control. The fear around the economy in 2027 is justified, but being paralyzed is a choice. This great salary reset doesn't have to define your financial reality. It can be the catalyst that forces you to ditch the outdated playbook and adopt a smarter, more powerful way of managing your career. While everyone else is sitting in their annual review, fighting for a 3.5% raise that will be eaten by inflation, you'll be operating on a completely different level. While they're complaining about salary compression, you'll be building a quantifiable portfolio of value that makes compression irrelevant. While they are waiting for permission to get ahead, you'll be piloting your own promotion, defining your own role, and negotiating your own terms. The fundamental shift is this: you are not a passenger in your career, subject to the whims of the economy and corporate budgets. You are the pilot. You have the controls. The strategies we've talked about today are your flight plan. The question is no longer, how do I get a raise? The question you must now ask yourself every day is, how do I become so valuable, so unique, and so visible that the raise becomes the logical, inevitable consequence of the value I create? The next 12 months are critical. They're the window of opportunity to make these changes before things get even tougher. Don't look back a year from now and wish you had started today. Your future self is counting on you. Get to work.